Start.
Well, good morning, dear prayer partners and friends. I'm coming to you from Christ the King Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Wolfgang, and today I want to talk to you about gratitude and about the many blessings that God showers on us. Now, it's the week after Easter, and you're probably going to say to me, well, Wolfgang, what blessings? And you're going to say, well, look, what should we be grateful for? So much is going wrong right now. We're in the middle of this coronavirus pandemic. People are hunkered down in their houses. They don't have jobs. They are running out of food, some of them. I mean, there is so much going on, and we don't know where this is going to end. The economy is tanking all over the place. What blessings are you talking about? But see, that's the point. The point is that God blesses us all the time, even when things aren't going well, and maybe especially when things aren't going well. I mean, we've just been through Holy Week, and we've experienced again what it must have been like to experience Good Friday and to be with Jesus there during his suffering and his death, and to be waiting, literally waiting for the resurrections, for things to get better. And so I am convinced that God blesses us even now, the breath we have, the life we have, the relationships we have. Just because we have to stay away 6 feet from each other, like I'm staying away from my friend Mike here. By the way, Mike is our organist, Mike Harris. Say hi, Mike.
Hello, everyone.
He's a guest on my show today. Isn't that great? And I've invited him because I want to tell you about another musician, and then I want to introduce you to a hymn that I know you already know. This guy I want to talk about, his name is Martin Rinkart. I talked about him a little bit in my Easter sermon, and some folks have asked me to say some more because it's a really interesting story. I read it again in the Christian Century this week. Give credit where credit is due. And there they tell you about Martin Rinkart, who was born in 1586, so he lived in the 17th century. He was a gifted musician, just like Mike, and very late in life became a pastor. He worked at several churches in Saxony and Germany as an organist and a composer, and then as a pastor to the people of Eilenburg for about 30 years. Now, those 30 years he spent as a pastor in this little town called Eilenburg, that was the same years as the 30 Years' War went on. And if you know anything about European history, the 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648 was especially brutal. And Eilenburg was a little walled city. They had a wall around it, so people from all over the region would come and find or look for safety there. And of course, then at the same time in the 1630s, the pestilence came back, the Black Death, and people got sick. And in Eilenburg, this little town, 8,000 people died in 1637. That's an awful lot. And Martin Rinkart was their pastor and worked in the middle of that. The whole town council died of the pestilence. His own wife died. In the middle of that, other pastors died. And in the middle of that, he was one of the few left that helped people. One week he had up to 200 funerals. Can you imagine that? 200 funerals in 1 week? I mean, that's what it was kind of like. And we're seeing some pictures like that now, too, in this pandemic, aren't we? Where we can't even have regular funerals, what we think of as a regular funeral, and where people, get buried in mass graves simply because, we got to get them buried, and there's so many people have already died. The point of the story, though, is that in the middle of this happening, in the middle of this terrible, terrible war, terrible, terrible death, Martin Rinkart realized how blessed he was and how many gifts God was giving him even then. And so he wrote the words to this wonderful hymn that we know, "Now Thank We All Our God." And he wrote those words, which I want to put on your heart right now. Now thank we all our God with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things has done and continues to do today, in whom this world rejoices even in the midst of the pandemic, who from our mother's arms has blessed us on our way with countless gifts of love, and still is ours today. I'm here to remind you that those blessings haven't stopped just because times have gotten hard. But of course, now that we have read these words, now we're going to sing it, right? And that's why Mike is here. So we're going to sing, Now Thank We All Our God. Now thank we all our God with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things has done, in whom this world rejoices, who from our mother's arms has blessed us on our way with countless gifts of love, and still is ours today. Thank you so much for tuning in today. May God bless you, and may you realize the blessings that you get. Take care.